I've been all over this world. I seen men die in ways I ain't even know was possible. Love you, brother. Be careful. I will.
All right, Sinners. The movie I was looking really forward to, or one of the movies I was looking really forward to this year. So, I was trying to keep my expectations fairly low when it came to this, because I was like, dude, this looks really good, but it's probably not gonna satisfy everything. So I tried to keep expectations low. I went and saw it, and wow, it did not disappoint at all. Okay, so the main story of the movie is you have these two brothers who are both played by these twin brothers played by Michael B. Jordan, and it's during the 1930s, and they decide, hey, we're going to open up this like club and play like the blues music. And it's like almost like a good time club. Just like come in, have a drink and dance and have fun. Then all of a sudden vampires show up. And I don't want to give away too much, because there's so many things in this that surprise the hell out of me. So I will start off with this. The acting was amazing, especially from Michael B. Jordan, because he's playing two characters most of the time at the same time, and they're twins. Like, one of them is very like straight loose, very serious, very like deadpan, like serious, and the other is more of just like the sarcastic, jokey, but still kind of needs to be serious when he needs to be. And he does a really great job at doing that. Even there's some scenes where I'm like, I know they shot this on film. How did they do this? Especially like when you see like Michael B. Jordan like double. It's like, how do they do this? Like wow. That's just incredible. Dialogue was incredible. Like, I the whole time I was just like, you know what? If this movie wasn't a vampire movie, besides it being a vampire movie, or sorry, even if it wasn't a vampire movie, I would want to watch this. I would just like want to watch these characters for a lot longer. And the movie's like almost, I think it was like 15 more minutes, and then it's 2.5 hours. And a lot of people, like, I've seen a couple people talk about this, the pacing of the movie. You could say it's a little slow, but for me personally, I was never bored, because they constantly had something going on. Even in the dialogue scenes, just like proper conversations, there was something going on that kept me intrigued. And that's part of the reason why the dialogue was so good. I kept wanting to hear what they were going to say. It was surprisingly funny. It's in so many spots. Like, I don't want to give away too much, but like once the vampire stuff starts happening, one of the characters who, if you've seen the movie, this character that says this is my favorite character, says, "Do you guys smell that?" And then like there's a little bit moment of pause, and he's like, "I think I just shit myself." And it was just so funny. But I'll talk about the music in a second, because that's the big highlight here, or one of the big highlights. This movie was very much like a siege movie, like something you would see like back in like Carpenter stuff, or even like back further where with like Howard Hawks, where like a lot of their movies were like siege films, where it's like these people, they're in one location and they have to fight some danger. But this one says, hey, let's put this in the 30s, make it like a blues musical, and let's have vampires in it. Sure, why not? Let's do it. Go. Now, the music. The score was done by the same guy who did Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson. Yeah, so I'm butchering that. I'm terrible with names. But I loved his score for Oppenheimer. In fact, I've listened to it like a couple times here and there. This is no exception. Like, immediately after the movie was done, I not only downloaded the score for this, but the soundtrack to the film. Because the soundtrack was just amazing. I was like, I would listen to that. And in fact, I have. Like, God, I don't want to give away too much, but there's a scene in this movie. There's a scene in this movie where, you know, they're playing a song, but then they're throwing in all these different, like, cultures together and like different instruments that you wouldn't associate with blues, but yet they're throwing all this stuff in here. And in the scene, I was like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? But then it starts adding up and it flows incredibly well, and it makes it part of the story. It's all of the visual. It's all like the visual. It's musical storytelling, where, you know, it's very much the showing, not telling thing. It's like, we're going to show this, but at the same time, you hear it in the music. And that was incredible. Like, I told my friends who I saw this with, I told them, like, guys, like, I would pay to see this again just for that. Like, just for that scene. I will watch that again in the theater again. Like, I watched this movie again in the theaters, but that scene I will pay just for itself. Like, I don't care. I'll show up, watch that scene. I'll pay $15 for a ticket, watch that scene, be satisfied, and I can walk out if I wanted to. But because this movie was so damn good, that's probably not going to happen. If I have anything negative to say, some characters make little, like, kind of stupid choices, but there's so little of that honestly, that's a minor complaint. And it didn't bug me as much as, like, other horror movies do that, because you just get invested with every character in this movie, that to the point where you're just like, oh, like, you actually do kind of care for these people. And when they get offed, you're like, oh, that sucks. And this is also one of those movies where I had no idea how this was going to go. Like, when it eventually gets to, like, the vampire stuff, I had no idea what was going to happen. I was like, how are they going to get out of this? I actually don't know. And very few movies over the past couple of years have truly done that, where I have thought to myself, how is this going to wrap up? What is going to happen? You know, like movies like Barbarian did that. The Menu, I was the same way. I'm like, I don't have no idea how this is going to go. Even to some extent, Companion, I was like, how is this going to wrap up? I have no idea how this is going to go. Sinners is on that list, and I'm like, I'm just thoroughly impressed, like, how good this was. And like I talked about with the music, it's just, they even, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a certain part where a cameo shows up, and the cameo is cool by itself. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. There's a cameo, and it's cool by itself, but they make this cameo an actual part of the movie. And that's all I'm going to say, because if I say anything else, it will spoil something. And I do not want to spoil this movie, because there's so many surprises in this that it just blew me away. Like, overall, it was a movie that I was really looking forward to anyway, and I came out thinking that was way better than I thought it was going to be, even though I was really looking forward to it. This is easily a movie that I would run out and watch again. Like, I would run out, watch it again. If I don't want to see, like, the vampire stuff, I'll watch it again just for, like, the music stuff they do. because it's so incredibly well done and it works. It's not shoehorned in. It's not forced. It makes sense with the story, and it's just done incredibly well. And it just shows that, Ryan Coogler knows what he's doing. He knows, he has a vision. He knows exactly what he's doing. And him working with Michael B. Jordan again, they, you could kind of compare them like they're like Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese, or like John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, where it's just like these guys, they know their strengths and weaknesses at this point, because they've done Black Panther and then Creed. So, and now this. So it's like they know their strengths and weaknesses at this point. They use that to their benefit. And, they just know, they know what they're doing. And man, I mean, Companion so far Companion is my favorite movie of the year. And I was thought about it more, and honestly, I gave that movie amazing instead of a great. Honestly, I may have a contender for first place now, because Sinners, yes, gets an amazing. I honestly can't find a single flaw in it. Even like like I mentioned, like with the characters, it's very little. It's very little that I can easily overlook it. And, you could say the pacing a little bit, because it is 2 hours and 15 minutes, I believe. So you could say the pacing is a little bit slow, but like I said, I was never bored. There was something constantly happening, even in characters' interactions and how they were talking with one another. There was always something there that kept me intrigued. Like hell, I was like, every time the music was happening and had like a stomping rhythm, I was stomping at it, because I was just like, wow, this is just so well done. So yes, Sinners does get an amazing, and I'd happily rush out and see this again.
You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.